So, once again, I feel terrible for what you guys are having to grapple with this. This is a huge issue, and I'm sure it's not that everybody wants to come down the wrong side of it. And the biggest thing I'm hearing here today is hate, hate, hate. It's about hate to push the issue. It's not about hate. So there's no hate involved for the parents that are against the bathroom usage issue. They're not discriminating against, nor am I, their child's right to an equal education and a right to an education. What I'm hearing is some really great points, but a lot of them are lacking context. It's great to hear from children and letters from children, and that was really great for 3rd and 4th graders to say that. But it's not put in a proper context, and they don't have the education of real world life and real world events. To give you an idea of what I mean by that is they're being told one side of it, and they're being shown to see the hate that doesn't actually exist there when they write those letters. What I heard in those letters was, it's unfair to hate, it's unfair this, it's unfair. We're building a victim mentality. That's not really the case with all of this, and that's what's sad. And it is a political, it does seem political, split down the middle. To give you an idea why I say that that's not put in the proper context and why those letters are great, what children are taught at school, just like they said, they're put there, to respect their teachers and trust their teachers for their safety and their education. That can go two ways, and sometimes a teacher's agenda comes in just as a school district's agenda does, or has to. And my daughter, 6 months ago, was walking through a store with my wife and said, at 9 years old, why don't we have the same rights as men? She's being taught to be a victim before she's taught the actual Constitution and the history of everything else. In many cases here, what I'm seeing is right down to school projects of last year, not to get off subject, of having them do civil rights activists and this and that. They haven't been taught those rights. They haven't been taught the history that goes behind it. They're being taught one side of the equation, and they're being trained to only see the negative and see that this is like this because of hate, and that's really unfair. It's just not what school used to be and not what it's supposed to be. We're here to learn the history, we're here to learn the rights, and we're delving into really other subjects. Once again, everybody that spoke has done a great job, and everybody has their own point of view, but then it comes down to reality, and it comes down to talking logistics of it. I feel for any child that feels excluded. When it was mentioned that a child didn't want to use the bathroom. Well, my daughter's religious and upbringing, all these kids' upbringing for all their years up in their life till now, tell them that if there is a, if it's a girl, if there's a male in the bathroom, you do not go. My daughter will not go to the bathroom at school anymore because she is afraid. So why is my child's comfort, my child's privacy, my child's religious beliefs all put to the back burner for one child? Because once again, this is a matter of biology. This is something that's new. This is groundbreaking stuff that we're dealing with. And once again, I feel bad for you guys trying to navigate it. I mean, up until 4 months ago, who found this as a mental disorder? Do I think it needs more research and more stuff? Yeah, but I feel like we're jumping on the bandwagon to the worst case scenarios. It is, as this gentleman said here, creating a very negative impact and actually drawing more attention to something that we can handle as a school and as a community and come to, as another person said, an agreement between all of us that works for all, not just for one. I don't need to get into percentages, but there are some percentages thrown out that are very false here. Percentages of, we're looking at suicide upon, transgender use, but it's actually suicide rates upon all use. And why is that happening? Because we're over-inundating them with all of this stuff, all of this hate, all of this fear. The suicide rates are through the roof for all children, not just for transgender youth.
The general population has a 4%.
Excuse me, you can't speak out of turn, I'm sorry. No, you can't do that.
And we can also go over the percentages if she'd like, that 90% of children pre-puberty that have gender confusion, it's gone once they hit puberty. But we're not here to discuss that stuff. We can sit down and go over logistics. We're here to talk about the overall safety of the children. What we're also missing is, as a community, we're not worried about the transgender youth or the transgender persons, doing something bad. We're worried about the Pandora's box that we're opening. We're worried about the fact that this is opening a box where you have no way to identify if someone is or isn't. It's based on what they're saying, so they're getting access into those bathrooms. I spoke to a high schooler that told me there was no prerequisite on this or anything explained to them, and they walked into the locker room and there was a boy standing there, and they ran out of the locker room. Is that fair to that child too? basically, through this all, we all need to come together. It shouldn't be divided. We need to come to a thing. It's not discrimination, and also within the bill, and I think a large thing that's missed is it's about public places and public accommodations. Legally, a school is disqualified from that because you have to have official business there to enter the grounds during hours. So this bill does not even apply to schools, even though that's what we're jumping to. So that's my piece. You know, I hope we can all come to a reasonable conclusion.
Title IX.
Hi, my name is Michelle Rush. I live at 26 Seamus Drive, Gilford. I'm a physician. I have many patients, a few, not many, who are transgender. And I've spoken with them at length about how they felt as children. I do not believe this is not a real thing. This is a real thing. It's fine. I agree with no bullying, no harassing. Of course, and your speech was very emotional. And I don't think anybody here is arguing for ostracizing transgender
Dr. Rush,
kids.
can you address the board?
Oh, sorry.
Thank you.
So, I'd like to say that I have no moral, ethical, or religious objection to transgender people. I think I admire people who make a change in their life for the better, as long as it does not hurt or infringe on anybody else's rights. And that's where I think this comes down to here. And first of all, let me give a little history too, is the Title IX federal law was signed into law in the 70s to say that nobody should be discriminated on the basis of ethnicity, religion, sex, and all that. And sex at the time meant male or female. The Obama administration, and I'm not saying whether I agree or not agree, I'm just giving you the facts, the Obama administration extended that definition to include transgender people. Now, the Trump administration is trying to change that. I don't know if they've already done that or not, but they're trying to say that sex, based on the Title IX law, is biologic, what you were at birth, so that there can be a formal definition of this. The other thing I want to say is the law that the governor signed into law gives, and I spoke to him actually on Saturday about this, he said it gives the local school boards the right to make the determination as to how they want to implement any of this. In other words, the law does not say that you have to give a transgender kid the right to a specific bathroom or not. That the school board has the right to come up with their own definitions of these things. And I will say that a friend of mine's sister is a teacher in Massachusetts, the very liberal Massachusetts, and in her school district, the transgender kids are asked to use the private bathrooms, of which there are many in all of the Gilford schools. I think 4 in the high school, 5 in the middle school, 3 in the elementary school. What I'm saying is that for the parents who feel uncomfortable with this, we're not hateful, we're not trying to ostracize anybody, because I'm not at all. But I also have to recognize the rights of the other kids in these locker rooms who feel very uncomfortable with this situation. Mostly I think the girls who have a biologic boy come into and change in their locker room in front of them. My children are in their 20s, they've been through Gilford schools. When I told my older daughter about this, she laughed and said, "Mom, I can tell you the name of 5 boys right now who'll say, today I feel like transgender," and they're going to go in the locker room to watch the girls undress. I don't know if this has happened, I don't know. But she said, I can tell you right away it would. So I'm here to say, can't we find a compromise that makes everybody happy? I'm in full support of transgender kids' rights. I would call them by the name that they want and the gender pronoun that they want. But I just have a problem with this whole issue of changing in the locker rooms. I don't even care so much about the bathroom. Coming in and using a bathroom, I don't care, but it's the changing in the locker room that I think infringes on the rights of all the other kids. And again, I don't know the actual numbers. I've seen all different statistics thrown out there, but I think it's about 0.004% of the population that's transgender to make the 99.006 other people uncomfortable. And that's the problem here. And can't we just come up with a solution that works? Like, hey, can't you just use the single bathroom? You know, and change in there. I mean, I want to see a compromise that everybody can live with. That's all I'm saying. Thank you.
Croc TV.